All right, so today I am presenting fish. So let's hope you enjoy. Some general fish information, fish in the natural form before added seasonings and others are typically low calories, low fat, and high protein. Just pretty much based off of their diets. Usually they don't eat a lot of high calorie or high protein things. So you just tend to get leaner protein out of fish. A typical fish fillet usually weighs between 3 to 5 ounces. There are such things as fish steaks, and that's commonly seen with tuna, and those can increase up to 12 ounces. But in most cases, usually fillets are about 3 to 5 ounces. Most common fish types are served in the Dayton area, mainly consist of salmon, cod, catfish, trout, and tuna. You see a lot more of salmon and cod served in restaurants than you do the other two, or the other three. But usually the other three are typically served or offered in a lot of like seafood settings, but usually salmon and cod is most commonly seen. On some occasions, fish such as walleye, perch, red snapper, grouper, and swordfish can be served for special events. It's a little bit easier to get walleye and perch out because you can catch them pretty much in out of Lake Erie, or you can get a lot of perch from just like lakes and stuff like that. Red snapper, grouper, and swordfish typically come from like the east or west coast, so it's a little bit harder, as you can imagine, for states that are more away from the ocean setting. Fish are filled with omega-3 fatty acids. Most common way individuals get omega-3s is through fish oil because they do not eat the recommended amount of fish a week. And I'll get to that at the bottom. Fish is rich in vitamin D and B2, also contains rich amounts of calcium and phosphorus. Minerals are also high in fish, such as iron, zinc, magnesium, potassium. And the recommended amount of fish be eaten is 2 times a week as part of a healthy diet. The products I reviewed were frozen pollock from Kroger, fresh salmon, Atlantic salmon from Kroger, and canned tuna from Kroger. Meyer, I viewed frozen cod fillets, fresh tilapia fillets, and a uh, packaged tuna. Fresh Time, I reviewed ahi tuna steaks, which is fresh, fish sticks, frozen fish steaks, fresh catfish, and sardines. So for the comparison of all Kroger fish, pollock, one fillet is usually around 4 ounces. So the cost per serving would be 87 cents for a $6.99 2-pound bag. It's high in protein, low in fat, and has calcium and iron. As you can see in the chart next to it, it's going to be mainly protein per serving and fat per serving, because those are the two biggest things you see with fish. Salmon, one fillet equals 3 ounces. The cost per serving is about $1.49 for a 2.5 pound package for $18.30. These fillets come in a full length, so typically you're going to get about 8 servings out of it, roughly, because you'll get about 4 fillets per strip of salmon. Tuna, one can is 5 ounces. Cost per serving is 29 cents, because typically with the can of tuna, it's about a third is a serving. So there's 3 servings, but most people typically eat the can. So that's about 89 cents. So it's still pretty cheap. And then I just included at the bottom, if you have a nut allergy, you must take into precaution, because in the canned tuna, they include veggie broth. And in the veggie broth, there are peas. Peas is part of the legume family, which is the same as peanuts. I know for myself, having a nut allergy, I cannot eat that certain product because it contains peas. Next is Meyer. I reviewed frozen cod for $9.99 for a 2-pound bag, or 32 ounces. Cod fillet is typically around 4 ounces. So you'll get a couple fillets out of that, which came out to about $1.25. They're very high in protein, very low in fat. Cod's actually considered the leanest protein out of fish. It's very low calorie, contains omega 3s and a small amount of iron and calcium. Fresh tilapia I reviewed was $6.99 for 1 pound. Um, Tilapia is a little bit of a smaller fish. So on the picture that I found of it, it was only two fillets, but typically you find more than just two because it's a smaller fish. At $6.99 a pound. One fillet was roughly around $1.75. It's going to have a little bit more of a fat content. I think tilapia is a little bit more of a fattier fish. But I'm not sure because I've actually never seen what a tilapia looks like. Lastly was packaged tuna. It was $1.29 for a 2.6 ounce pouch. Literally comes in like a plastic pouching. It's considered one serving, so the cost didn't change. It's still $1.29 per serving. It's a little bit lower than the tilapia and the cod, but it still contains omega 3s and it's going to have just a little bit of calcium and iron. It's low calorie, still part of that high protein diet. It's low in fat. Overall, it's still pretty healthy. Lastly was the fresh time fish. I looked at the ahi tuna steaks at $14.99 a pound. They were listed as a sale price, but usually tuna is not on sale, so I kept it at its original price. It's typically served in 4 to 12 ounces. I just went with the typical 4 ounce. It's higher calorie, light carbs, low fat, higher protein. One 4 ounce steak is about a $3.74. It's a higher form of protein, so you can imagine that it is going to be a little more expensive. Last, we had fish sticks at $5.99 for a 10 ounce box. There's about 3.5 servings per container. Serving size about 3 sticks. So one serving is around $1.71. It is higher calorie, higher fat content, has more carbs than almost all of these fishes combined. Has a lot more fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron. It includes potassium, but it's very low in protein. Then we got the catfish fillets. Of course, that's going to be fresh. $10.99 a pound. One fillet is right around 3 ounces. So it's about $2.19 per fillet. It's higher calorie, more fat, just because catfish are bottom feeders. So they're going to have a little bit more fat content and calories to them. They're equal protein as most fish. There's no calcium or iron in them. And then lastly was packaged sardines was $1.29 for a whole package. One pack is one serving. It's higher calories. It's pretty equivalent protein, a little bit higher in fat, and it's high calcium and low iron. Comparison overall, the fish I expected contained omega 3s, had calcium and iron. They were all pretty decent high protein contents except for the fish sticks. Altogether, they were pretty much similar in ingredients, just may have more particular ingredients like calcium and iron. Kroger fish was more cheaper than the fresh time, being the most expensive. It just also depends on the quality or the type of fish. Protein and fat contents were very similar. For someone like me, costs will be more expensive because I eat more than the typical 3 to 5 ounce piece of fish. So it'll be a little bit different for me. But if I'm meal prepping, I try to stick to that 3 to 5 ounce range. Just some red flags. Fish sticks were high in sodium, same as the Kroger's canned tuna and the packaged tuna. They were more higher in calories, and the salmon was higher in calories as well. Without proper cooking, in general, fish can cause a lot of issues like salmonella, and they can also lead to illness with diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. Fresh fish doesn't stay fresh forever. It's about 24 to 48 hours is typically how long fish can stay fresh, and if you don't have the proper packaging. And then you have to be careful where some fish come from. You don't really know where they come from, so you don't know if they've been properly cleaned. And then the big label on almost all the fish, except for the canned tuna and stuff like that, was there could be bones found in the fish. What's been surprising, all forms of fish were pretty much low calorie, except for the fish sticks and the salmon. I never realized how high protein tuna was. I didn't know cod was considered the leanest protein. That was actually very shocking to me. Frozen fish like boneless and skinless are actually super inexpensive compared to items like chicken and other meat. Canned and packaged tuna are very cheap fish alternative, ranging from about 85 cents to $1.30. Healthiest choice option I chose for the first one I chose was obviously the tuna. I mean, it is expensive, but I think for the quality of the fish and the protein and fat content, you really can't beat it. But if you're on a budget, I recommend the frozen package of pollock or even the cod. Both were pretty decently priced with the $1.87, and I think, or with 87 cents, and then the other one being like around like $1.30. I thought those are two of the best options, and the portion size for both fish were pretty decent.